So we start off meeting Anna, who's a godling, who lives with her 3 best friends, Thruth, whom she adores, Kebashet, and Athena. She's waiting for Thruth to come home from some kind of trip. Also hanging out at the apartment is Jay, who rescued her when she was living in the cave like a feral animal, I don't know, and like turned her into a functioning member of society. She's also like super into her stuffed animals. So Thruth comes home and Anna's really excited, and then she finds out that Thruth and Jay are getting married, and she has a crush on Jay, which I don't think she really understands, but she has a crush on him, and she feels really bad about that, and like runs away to cry. And then the next thing she knows, this like girl is going through their fridge, and the girl looks like her, and so now she's upset and confused. And then I don't remember how they get there, but she walks in, and like this creepy skeleton lady with a scythe and bandages and whatever is stabbing Jay and kills him. So chapter 2 opens with Freya in a carriage with her twin brother, and she seems to be pissing him off by like drumming on the side of the thing, and he's like, "Girl, stop," and she's like, "Make me," and it just makes her do it more, which is totally what my reaction would be, because I'm obnoxious like that. And apparently the carriage is being pulled by giant cats, and she wants to feed them. So like her brother gives her 2 little tiny mice, which I don't understand if the cats are bigger than lions. Like, what is that? Is that like a snack? Like, what are these cats actually eating? Like, I wonder.
I like to imagine that they're very small, but very strong.
The cats? So it's like actual cat size, but...
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense then. So they're traveling in a carriage full of magical rainbow dust, and they're going to Eden to attend the trial of Fenrir, who's this like real bad dog dude. Is he still a dude, or is he just a dog?
He's just a boy.
Is he like a dog that talks, or is he like a dog dude? Like, I need to know this.
He's just a puppy.
Okay. So anyways, this puppy who's like real bad, like he's a bad puppy, like no, bad dog, like hit him on the nose with a newspaper. And like Freya's going over all the things she's gonna do to him. Like, it's like her mantra. So it's like cut him, flay him, trip him, sign him up for daily joke emails, like that kind of stuff. Because she thinks that he killed her daughters, which he may have. I don't know. We still don't know. But she says that that's what happened. So I guess we have to believe her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they get there, and then they meet Sif, who's like the older, like de facto head of their Norse business. And Sif's Thruth's mom. It's like, "Oh, hey, Thruth's mom, how you doing?" Anyway, and we find out that Freya taught Thruth how to like do magic and shit. So that's great. So they like all talk about like Ragnarok and how sad they are and how angry they are at the bad puppy. No. We do that outside. And then this dude, Erebus, comes over with a drink, or a bottle, I guess, and he's like, "Hey ladies, this is from Hera. This is some good shit right here. Like, you're gonna enjoy this." And Sif's like, "Okay." And then Hera comes over, and she gets like real handsy with Sif. Like, she's like stroking her hair and stroking her face, and it's kind of like, what's going on here with you ladies? Question mark? I don't know. Oh, and Tyr is there, and he only has one arm because he lost it in the fight, and like he tries to like bro up with Freyr by being like, "Hey, like your face got burned off, I lost my arm, like we're bros, woo, we're war bros." And Freyr's like, "My face, my beautiful face. What happened to me? This is terrible. Stop talking to me, you extremely loud one-armed man."
And
I
then
guess it's
they
maybe
kiss.
1.5-armed man, because he has the top part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the bicep, and that's what counts.
That's all that counts. You can do a lot with just a bicep.
You really can't.
Yeah. And so everyone's really hoping that they'll really get justice against the bad puppy for what he did to their families. Because, like, that's not cool. That's really not cool, bro. Yeah. And it ends with her repeating her mantra of cut him, stab him, set him on fire, give him a bad haircut, tell him that no, palazzo pants really do look good on him. Yeah. And that's the end of chapter 2.
So chapter 3, now, what's that all about?
Chapter 3 is the big fight between Freya and the Teen Girl Squad. So it's really good because you get to see the dynamics of like Keb is asleep and Athena and Thruth either hate each other or are madly in love. I can't decide yet. So Freya's like, nah, can't catch me. And they're like, oh, we caught you. And then they start bickering and she's like, nah, I escaped. And they're like, oh, damn it. You were supposed to be watching the cage. No, you were. No, blah, blah, blah. They don't kiss though.
Or do they?
Or do they? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so we learn that Freya's power is pissing people off, which is actually the same power that I have. And Keb does have a power though, isn't it? Like, what is she, like, throw bandages?
She falls apart.
That's her power?
Yep.
That's a lame power.
That's what she does, and
Dude.
I love her for it.
Yikes. It's really useful in a fight. Yeah, and Athena's like a know-it-all, and Thruth is like, no, I actually do know it all because I can see the future. And Athena's like, no, if you knew the future, you should have said that you would escape. No, you're not perfect. And Freya escapes or escapes. Freya escapes and meets back up with Anna and the baby. And Anna's probably crying because that's what happens.
That's true. You'd think the baby would be crying, but no.
The baby Hope seems like pretty chill. She's just kind of like, whatever, you're bird people, I'm on a spaghetti monster, there's an invisible unicorn, and I'm a baby. This is great. Like, she's like a real easygoing baby. Like, I wish babies like that existed in real life. It would make things a lot easier. So, what happens in chapter 4?
Oh, chapter 4. This is where we meet Fenrir's sister, his little sister, but when I say little, you see it's a twist because she's actually a very big girl with a very big heart. She's a Jotun. Her name is Hel, and she lives in Death's domain, which is very much like Hell. So it's kind of funny.
Hel lives in Hell?
Yeah.
Nice.
And she works for the Reaper as an assassin. And she's very mad because one day, many years ago, Odin came inside her house and was like, I don't like your family. And he smacked her mom, which she didn't like at all. And then he took...
That is so rude.
And then Odin, he saw Fenrir and he said, what the heck? You're just a girl, but this is a dog. I don't like that either. So
she's just
Fenrir,
a girl with a dog and he's like, I hate this?
Yeah, he sees it and he doesn't like what he sees. So he takes Fenrir, he puts him in a cage, he says, ship him off to Eden. I don't care. Get him away from me. And then he sees...
so he slaps her mom and he takes her puppy?
Yeah.
That's
but her
awful.
puppy is her brother.
Oh wait. Wait. So he's not only her puppy, but it's also her brother?
Older brother. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's intense.
It's an interesting family dynamic. And then she has another older brother he's not a dog, he's a snake. And Odin sees this and he says, "Now what's this?" Now, I saw the dog, and that was one thing. But now I'm seeing a snake. What, have you all been fathered by the same man? Or is this just a very bizarre situation here?
Like, those are Greek levels of messed up.
Yeah. So he says, I don't like this at all either. I'm going to throw this snake in the river. So he throws him in the ocean. So Odin pours just a bag of salt on the snake's head, and he shrinks into a slug, and he throws the slug in the trash can.
Rip.
That was many years ago, and then Hel got thrown into Death's domain, where she was very sad, and she was sitting by a lake fishing, and then the Reaper came along and said, what did you catch there, sport? And Hel said, my mom, before she died, my mom said, don't talk to strangers, especially if they are very scary looking. But Reaper just says, haha, come with me, child. So Hel's on a job, right? This is many years later, and she's like, man, being an assassin is weird, but I like it. And she sees this man running around, she's like, oh, that's the guy I'm supposed to kill. Who is that man again? It's Wotan. He's a war god, and she's like, I'm gonna squish him and turn him into a ball, which she does. That's part of her ability, is she can turn anyone or anything. Yeah.
Ball squishing.
She turns him into a ball, She plays just a match of one-on-one with Michael Jordan, and then she squishes him. Not Michael Jordan. She squishes Votan and absorbs him, and then she says, "Go to hell," because it's a play. It's a joke.
It's a play on words.
Yeah. It's a joke because her name's Hell.
Does she wink when she says it? I feel like she needs to wink.
She does wink with her one visible eye.
At the camera?
Yes.
Yep.
And then the laugh track sounds.
Strong work.
So Votan's inside her now.
I'm sorry, what?
He's become a ball and he's been absorbed. So she has his powers now.
Okay.
And then she's bored now because she did her job. So she's like, I wonder what my buddy Navan is up to. And that rascal Azrael, who is always hanging out around Navan, getting up to no good. So she wanders around and then she finds him just chopping this other guy up. And Navan goes pretty crazy and she goes, oh man, she gets a little weird sometimes, but I can't help but think back to the good old days when we were all just young and innocent killers. And now things are a bit weird around here. But at least Navan's still, in her heart of hearts, she's still a happy girl. Or is she?
Dun dun dun.
And then they go and do whatever Navan and Azrael do when they're off camera. And then Thanatos, who's the son of Erebus that we met in Eden, he shows up and he says, did you know that there's actually 5,000 sides to this coin that I'm flipping? And Hell says, that's really impressive, but is that the only reason that you've come here to talk to me?
Yeah, basically.
If you just want to talk about coins, then...
Like, okay, Grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. But he says, no, actually, I want to know, are you mad at Odin? Do you want revenge for that stuff? But then he quickly hops to his next subject, which is, I wonder, I heard Jesus died. I heard he was assassinated. And I actually know this because he was assassinated by a psychopomp. And I am a psychopomp, as are you. Then, he's just wondering who the heck could have done it. I don't know. Take care, Hell. And that's how chapter 4 ends.
They're flying around and Fea's like, oh, someone's trying to steal one of my domains. I'm gonna go beat them up. Stay here on the flying spaghetti monster with the baby. And Anna's like, nope. And she follows Freya. And Fea's like, dude, I told you to stay behind, like you're in my way. And Anna's like, no, I'm gonna stand here. And she does. So Freya fights this dude, Gilgamesh, who's like not super powerful anymore. And Gilgamesh has an advisor / he wishes she was his girlfriend, I think, named Surtur, who's like a giant sheep lady. So they fight Freya for a while, and Surtur transforms into some kind of weapon, and Gilgamesh like tries to use her against Freya, but it doesn't work. And Anna's like really sad for him, and she tries to cheer him up, and she's like, you're actually a really good dude, and even though you're not winning, like, I know you're doing your best. And he's like, yeah, thanks, whatever, get out of my face. So they leave and they get back on the flying spaghetti monster, and Anna's feeling like real good about herself for like propping this dude up. And Fea's like, haha, while you were distracting him, I was like taking over everything that he just won, and now his life is crap. Good job. And Anna cries. So what happens in chapter 6?
It starts out with a dream sequence, believe it or not. And in this dream, a small boy, he sees an angel and he says, wow, I must be in Eden. And he looks around and he finds his brother. And spoiler alert, his brother is Abel. Lo and behold, in this dream, brother gets stabbed. And he's like, oh, I didn't mean to do it. Oh, shucks. And then he wakes up.
Rats.
The boy wakes up as a man named Cain. And Cain's in this car, driving along with his foster dad, Longinus. And
what kind of a car?
It's a Volkswagen Beetle, very small.
Oh, geez.
And
what color is it?
Gray.
Gray?
Yes.
Ooh.
And so they're just driving around, Longinus wearing a polka dot suit, and Judas is in there. He's literally just a bat. That's all that he is. And he's...
Like a baseball bat?
No.
Oh, like a squeak, like flapping at you, giving you rabies?
Yes.
Nice.
So Judas is just sitting there tucked in with his seatbelt. And Longinus says, "You know, kids, I may be driving, but I'm blind." And so they veer off the road and they tumble off a cliff and they land at a church. So they land in the church and they meet this very buxom young nun named Mary. And she says, "Whoa, you guys surprised me. Oops," and shoots Cain. Plot
I do that
twist.
when I get surprised too.
Yeah.
It's a bad reaction.
Yeah, it might be best to rein in those impulses. But, so Cain gets shot, but he doesn't die because, lo and behold, that dream he had, turns out that was the first murder ever in all of history. And for that crime, he was cursed with immortality. So, he gets shot, but he ain't gonna die from it. So he doesn't die.
Doesn't seem like a curse to me.
Haha, well, the other part of the curse is that nobody likes him. But then...
Aww.
But then after he gets shot, what's this? Mary likes him. Or she seems to. She's worried about him. She says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to shoot you. I hope you're not dead." "Oh, you're not dead. That makes me very happy." And Cain's like, "What the heck? Everyone else would have been very happy if I had died. So what's the deal with this girl?" And so he's wondering about that. And then a fashion designer named Haagen-Dazs. He shows up.
Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream is like my thing. Just saying.
And that's actually what he offers the squad. He offers them just a bowl of ice cream. And they sit and they eat it and they have a good time. And that's chapter 6. So what happens in chapter 7?
So Anna and Faye are flying around with the baby. And Faye is like, "Dude, I could really use a drink. Like, this is hard work dealing with your crying ass." She's like, "I see a bar down there. Like, I got a fake ID. I think I can get in." And Anna's like, "I don't think you should do that, Freya. That's a really bad idea. That's breaking the law." And Freya's like, "Fuck you." So Freya, like, sneaks in. She tries to put her thumb over the age on the driver's license, but there's no bouncer, so it really doesn't matter. And Corb's like, "You look awfully young." And Freya's like, "That's because you only have one eye." And anyway, she, like, gets in a fight with him and wins the entire bar and is, like, really excited because now she gets free drinks. And Anna's like, "I feel bad, but I'm also, like, happy because I finally get to, like, stretch my legs and get away from the flying spaghetti monster." Which, I mean, that's, like, really rough for her because she's gluten intolerant. So having to ride around on him is, like, not the best for her health. So then these two dudes show up and they both have pink hair. And Anna's like, "I have pink hair. Like, maybe we're related." But they're not because one of them's Hercules and he's actually related to Athena. And the other one, Achilles, is like, he's hitting on everything. Like, he hits on the plant in the corner. He hits on the bartender. He hits on Anna, only she totally doesn't understand that. Like, if she knew what was going on, she'd probably be creeped out. So they, like, take on Freya, and they pretty much kick her ass. Which, I mean, to essentially grown-ish men against a little girl, like, really, dudes, like, that's really mean. Like, come on, pick on someone your own size. And they do this thing called the power bomb, which I thought would be like a kind of drink, but it's not. It's like a fighting move. They're like, "Hey, like, we're here to rescue you, Anna. You want to come with us?" And she's like, no thanks. Like, I was starting to feel a little stifled at home, and, like, I get to see the world and get belittled constantly by this brat over here. Plus, there's a baby. It cries constantly. Like, my life could not be any better right now. So I am going to pass, but thank you kindly for your offer. And they get back on the flying spaghetti monster and fly away.
Very touching tale. So chapter 8. You may remember Azrael from chapter 4.
Oh yeah, that dude.
This time around, we get a little peek in his head.
And it's empty.
Exactly. There's nothing there. It's just wandering from point to point, doing the bidding of his teacher, Supay, who is a very short man with a pickaxe. And he enlists Azrael to help him in the mines. Yes, they're mining for gold, which they pawn off to various minor deities. And it's a pretty good...
Minor, ba-dum-bum.
So they pawn off all this gold. And Azrael's like, this is pretty good. But I can't help but feel like I'm missing something big. Like something big is missing from my life. And I think that something is love. And Supay says, "My young boy, my foolish young child, you need love. You can't live without love." Is there anyone you're close to that you think you might have feelings for? And Azrael says, oh my gosh, all this time she's been right under my nose. It's Navon. All this time I've been crazy about Navon. But she thinks I'm this really, really cool dude, this really aloof dude who's just always, edgy and just, hanging by himself. But like, I've got her best interests in heart, and I don't want to see anything bad happen to her. So he goes to the cafeteria to tell her this, and he runs into Veals and Ishtar, a snake and a cat, who are having a little hissy fit, having a little
Are they related
fight.
to Hel?
They are not. They're just random animals that were loosed from the zoo.
Okay.
And so they're just fighting, just having a go. And Rhiannon, she's a horse. She trots up and she says, don't do that. And then they do it anyway, and Rhiannon gets mad. And then Azrael's like, you know what?
What a buzzkill.
These people aren't why I'm here. Let me focus on Navon. So he does that, and she's like, actually, Azrael, I'm over here talking with my buddy Thanatos. He's a cool boy too, don't you know? And Azrael's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm gonna stew over that for a minute or two, which he does. And then he notices Hel seems to have a crush on Thanatos too, and he's like, oh, what the heck is the deal with this guy? Why are all these girls going goo-goo for him? He's not that cool.
It's the coin with 500 sides.
It's gotta be the coin. So then what Azrael does is he's like, I gotta have a thing too. Like, I gotta have something of my own that's...
Like
that's
a catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. So he thinks of a really cool catchphrase. End of the line. And he's like, that's genius. That's it. That's the key to her heart. And he walks over and he's like, hey, Thanatos, sorry to butt in, but I'm afraid this is the end of the line for your conversation. And Thanatos, he just puts his coin down. He has his hand over it. When he moves his hand up, you see it's landed on the tails side, signifying his downfall. And he's like, oh shit, I've lost this match. I've been beaten and I must retreat and rethink everything. And that's precisely what he does. And Azrael's like, come on, Navon, let's you and me go have a talk and a smooch. And she's like, whoa, well, alright, I guess. And that's chapter 8.
And what happens in the next chapter?
Well, that's chapter 9. Your boy Cain. This chapter is basically just he's having a good time with Mary and Longinus. Judas is literally a bat and is not allowed to partake in the festivities because they go into a club and they're just partying it up with a whole bunch of demons. Cain's having a good time. No one there wants Cain to be there because of the curse. But Mary's like,
why?
You know what?
I think that would be fun.
Well, they all hate him.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah. So he's just dancing, and then the club owner, Nephil, he floats over, and he says, yo, Cain, I heard you killed Hagenti. Is that true? Did you take down old Haagen-Dazs? Why'd you do that? He was just a nice old fashion designer. I don't understand. And Cain says, well, it was a misunderstanding. And Nephil's like, well, alright. That happens. But Cain, you really gotta be careful. You gotta loosen up a little, He's like, it's the curse, bro. It's always the curse. And he's like, well, just, don't let it get to you. Keep your chin up. Maybe things will turn around. In the meantime, you got a lead on someone you might be interested in. Astaroth. Now, she's the CEO of the company that Haagen-Dazs was running, the fashion one. And he's like, I don't know why I'm so into fashion, but I really got to look into this. So he and the others, they rush off to, follow this lead, and they run into another demon. And this one is just minding its own business. But Cain's like, no, you know what? This dude, I don't like the way he's looking at me. I'm going to take him out. Mary's like, Cain, please. That's, you got to leave that to the archangels. Leave that to the police. You are just a dude running around, essentially murdering people. You shouldn't be doing that. It's wrong. And he's like, well, that's your opinion. In my opinion, it's not. And he kills this demon.
Jeez.
Yeah, real dick move. And then they go back to the car where Mary's like, this was actually revealed in the last chapter, but it was not mentioned. I have a baby named Adam, and he's just been sitting in the car the whole time with the bat, Judas.
Jeez.
Cain's like, that's not good. Why
You
do
do that around
happen?
here. They break through your window, and then they wait for you to take you to jail.
Yeah, and that's what happens. At the end, he is arrested and taken to prison, and we have yet to see what happens next. So what happens in chapter 10?
So chapter 10 is about Athena. It's called Perfection. And we get a glimpse into at least part of Athena's backstory, where she has a friend named Nike who's just a giant pair of sneakers. And Nike's entered a race that's only open to dudes, but Nike's like, hey, I'm a sneaker, so that's fine. And Athena's like, man, if I was a giant sneaker, I could enter the race too. And Nike's like, well, you're not, so tough shit. And Athena's like subtly like, I kind of love you, giant sneaker. I mean, I guess that makes her a sneakerhead, kind of. Anyway, and so the chapter ends with her being sent to Eden to go tell everyone that Jesus bit the big one. Wah, wah. And Thruth gives her some of this like magical rainbow dust, not to snort, just to hold in her hand. And Thruth is like, just, picture wherever you want to go on Eden, just any old place, you'll be fine. Like, don't worry about it. Just relax and enjoy your trip. Like, put on a mask, take a Xanax, whatever. Just, hold the dust and think everything will be okay. And Athena's like, so there's nothing you want to tell me? And Thruth is like, nope, I can't think of a single thing that you would need to know before you take this trip. We'll see you when you get back. And Athena's like, okay, bye. So she closes her eyes and she makes a wish and she gets transported to Eden. And that's the end of that chapter.
So, chapter 11. In chapter 11, we pick up where we left off with Greg, with his pal Surtur. They're just hanging out, and then a two-faced man who's a servant of theirs runs in, and he trips. So he's there, and he's like, there's a dragon lady here. You better come quick, sir, and check this out. And he's like, whatever, all right, okay. And so he goes, and they meet up with this really pretty and cool-looking dragon lady who starts talking Japanese, and Greg is like, what the heck, I don't understand a dang word of this. And Surtur's like, I know what she's saying. Then this lady's like, no, my bad, I should have been speaking English because I can speak English too. So she starts speaking English and is like, hey, I'm Otohime. I'm kind of a big deal, and the divinity in this kingdom of yours, it's getting sucked away pretty rapidly. And Gilgamesh is like, oh, what the heck? How could that have happened? And Otohime's like, look, dude, I don't know what's been going on, but if you need my protection, it's yours. And he's like, well, what's the catch? She's like, you gotta swear your fealty to me. You gotta become a servant to me, and then I'll protect you. And you won't get your ass kicked by a little girl and get made fun of by everyone. And he's like, oh man. And that's how the chapter ends.
So chapter 12 is the bird girls again. And they're back on the flying spaghetti monster, and Freya's a little pissed off because she got her ass kicked and she's not used to that happening. So she's like, man, that looks like a big group of suckers down there. I'm gonna go down there and beat the shit out of every single one of them, and that'll make me feel better. And Anna's like, oh boy, here we go again. All right. So they go down there, and Freya's like, who's gonna fight me? Who's gonna fight me? Are you gonna fight me? Are you gonna fight me? And like she goes up to like the biggest guy, and she's like, I'm gonna fight you. And he's like, whatever. And finally another like boy is like, oh, I'll fight you. And they also meet like this little sassy pants girl who's like, oh, you want water? Here's mud water. Like there's water in there. It's just really dirty. Her name is Aja, and like she really has a crush on the other dude who's like a lightning dude. Anyway, so lightning dude and bird girl are fighting, and meanwhile Anna's like, all right, well if you're having a good time, Freya, I'm just gonna eat some snacks because like those peanuts at the bar, like, did not fill me up, and, like, I am real hungry. So, like, she starts eating all the food in the place, and, like, the lady Oya is like, girl, you got a big appetite. And she's like, yeah, I know. She's like, I'm a little girl, but I eat a lot. And then all of a sudden, the fight is going pretty well, and Freya seems to be, like, doing a pretty good job. And all of a sudden, Freya's like, forget it, I'm done with this. Like, we need to leave now. And Anna's like, why do we need to leave now? Like, I was having a good time. Like, I was gonna get, like, a dance party going. Like, why we gotta go? You always make me go when I start having fun. And she's like, you know, thank you for all your food and for a lovely time, but I need to go get back on the flying spaghetti monster with this crazy pants and fly off someplace. And so they get back on the flying spaghetti monster and fly off into the sunset with Anna waving goodbye to her newfound friends, Lady, Drum Dude, Lightning Guy, and Tree Girl. And that's how the chapter ends. Okay, so the next chapter is a very, very big chapter where Freya finally gets to face off against the bad dog and tell him, no, bad dog. We don't do that in the house. We do that outside. And Freya is repeating her mantra, cut him, stab him, file his tail's a little too short, brush his hair in the wrong direction, take away his bone and hide it. Sif is like, we want justice, and everyone's like, yeah, obviously that's why we're here. And one guy's like, I'm here for a shit show, and everybody looks at him and stares. And Hera's there too. She's stopped touching Sif's hair and stroking her face, and is now, I guess, having eye sex with her from across the arena. Still drinking. She's still drinking. She's been drinking the entire time. So the archangels come out, and Gabe's like, yay, this is gonna be fun. And Michael's like, oh boy, here we go again. Because he's like totally hashtag over it. Like the whole time, he's like hashtag over it. He's like, dude, just let me put the dog down, like, and then we can all move on with our lives. And they're like, no. Raph, who's got crab hands, is like clicking them, and he's like, no, like, we have to be fair. And Michael's like, whatever, fine. So they bring out the dog, and he's like, woof, woof, I'm a bad dog. And he like mauls two angels and is like, haha, woof, woof, I told you I was a bad dog. And Michael's like, let me put the dog down. And Raph is like, no, we have to give him a second chance. Like, he deserves it. All dogs deserve it. And Michael's like, okay, whatever you say. And then there's a shimmer of rainbow light, and in the rainbow light appears Athena, who, having asked many times if everything was fine and if she needed to know anything before she teleported into Eden, and was told, no, everything's okay. I don't think that. Yeah, anyway, she teleports basically into the bad dog's mouth, and it's like, oh wow, this is like very warm and wet, and it smells real bad. And I really wish I had teleported into like the spa, maybe onto a massage table, like somewhere other than the bad dog's mouth. And the dog is like, ooh, you look delicious, chomp chomp. And she's like, could you not do that? Like, I just got this back from the dry cleaners, and it's silk and it's gonna stain. So if you could just not chomp on me, that would be really great. Michael's like, dude, please just let me kill the dog now. And Gabe's like, have faith, and clicks his crab hands. And everyone's like, Hera, like, look, it's your daughter. Like, she's about to get eaten. And Hera's like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I'm drinking right now. And Sif's like, somebody got to do something. And Freya's like, oh man, oh man, oh man. And Sif, like, unlocks Freya's magical powers. And her powers are basically, like, obliterating everything and going to, like, a separate universe where she has all control over everything. And she gets to do everything she said she was going to do to Fenrir. Cut him, stab him, etc., etc., etc. Only before she can actually kill him, she gets sucked back to reality. They all do. And they're like, okay, that's enough. We think he knows that he's a bad dog now. And he, like, gets possessed, and he says something in, like, a possessed dog voice. And then they drag him back off to dog jail, and they put a cone of shame on him so he can't lick himself. And Freya's like, oh, Athena, sorry, I didn't realize you were standing so close. I may have almost accidentally set you on fire. And Athena is like, bitch, I just got this back from the dry cleaner. Like, what don't you understand about that? Like, you could have ruined my outfit. And Freya's like, oh, sorry about it. Raph is like, haha, spoiler alert, you were safe the whole time. You were protected by a magical barrier. And Athena's like, oh yeah, guess who wasn't protected by a magical barrier? Jesus Christ, and his ass is dead. So, what happens in chapter 14?
So Thanatos, at the end of chapter 8, when he gets his ass handed to him by Azrael, and has to put his coin down. You know, he's not too happy about that. He wanders off, he's all upset. He's like, oh man, Navon, I like her. Don't tell me Azrael likes her too. Azrael's not the right dude for Navon. I'm the right dude for Navon. And I'm gonna prove it by summoning this illusion, because hey, that's my power, is I can control illusions. I can create them. Haha, bet you didn't see that coming, but I can do it. So I'm gonna do it, and I'll create my own girlfriend, and it'll be like a test run for the day I inevitably save her, because that's what I'm gonna do, because I'm a hero. Don't you see? I'm not crazy, I'm a hero, and this is just the way it has to be, so don't worry about a thing, Navon. I'm coming for you, and I'm gonna save you from that bad man's clutches.
So he's like a total mother's basement.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Does he have a neck beard?
He does, as a matter of fact, and a fedora.
Nice.
And under the fedora, that's where he keeps his collection of coins.
Nice.
And butterflies. It's all under the fedora.
Ew, he collects coins and butterflies? That's so creepy. Ew.
Yes, both. So this whole time he's just thinking about it, and he's like, gosh, I really don't know how to... I can't say it enough. I'm the man that she needs. I'm a good guy. Don't you see? I'm a nice guy. He's just thinking back on it, and he's like, you know what? I don't think Azrael's all that great. In fact, I think he's kind of an abusive little dickhole, and I think he's been batting Navon around. You know, I think she's getting hurt, and I'm not going to stand for that. No way. That's not happening to my girl on my watch. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to track down... Oh shit, I forgot to cover the whole ending of Chapter 8. Oh well.
Doesn't matter.
I'm gonna track down this dude who lives with my younger brother, and they've got kind of this weird relationship going on that I don't really approve of, but I'll let it slide for now, because this guy is powerful, and I need power, because I want to kill Azrael, and that's what I'm gonna do. Vicariously through this dude, because I'm gonna hire him to kill him, and that's what he does.
Sounds like a great guy. Like, that's definite boyfriend material right there.
Finally, that leads us up to Chapter 15.
Ooh, so we pick back up with Freya in Eden, and Athena has been carted off so she can take her clothes back to the dry cleaner again and see if they can be salvaged. It's like, it's just a little spot. Like, they should be able to get it out. Sif is like, hey, we're about to have a meeting. Don't you want to listen in? And Freya's like, I can think of 8 billion things I would rather do than listen to your meeting, because that sounds boring as hell. And Sif's like, no, I think you should stand outside the door and eavesdrop. I really think that's what you should do. And Freya's like, all right, I guess it's either that or hang out with the 1.5-armed dude and my brother. So she goes to do that. Meanwhile, I think that Tyr and her brother are off getting married, which I'm so happy for them. They make such a cute couple. So she's hanging outside the door, eavesdropping on this meeting, and it's like girls against boys, kind of, except it's more like everybody against Jade, because he's kind of a douche. They're like, oh, Jesus is dead, and Jade's like, I don't care. And it's like, oh, that's real offensive. And this bird dude guy who's like somehow gotten in charge of the Egyptians is like, I don't know what to do. I don't have any power. I'll do whatever the ladies say. And Jade's like, you suck. And Sif says something and he's like, you suck. And Hera's like, slow your roll, dude. Like, girls rule and boys drool. And he's like, oh, I guess you have a point. They have a big fight over the rainbow dust, and Sif's like, it's my rainbow dust, and I don't have to share if I don't want to. So, yourself. But they come to some kind of an agreement, and the archangels are there, and Raph is clicking his crab claws, like trying to act like he's in charge, and Michael's rolling his eyes because he is totally # over it, and Gabe is not there because Gabe has fluttered out of the room to go check on Athena at the dry cleaners. And finally, the meeting is over, and they've decided that Freya and her brother, who's now happily married to Tyr, can go to Midgard, where the girls are, to rescue, I guess, or check up on Thruth, who I think she's doing pretty okay for herself. Like, I really don't think she needs them to check up on her. She seems to be doing pretty okay on her own. So they've decided to let Freya and Freyr go. That's gotta be confusing. Freya and Freyr, like, if you say it fast, you can't even tell the difference. But anyways, they've agreed to let her, Freya and her brother go to Midgard to hunt down Thruth and make sure she's safe, and I guess take her somewhere that's not Midgard, which, okay, that's fine, I guess. And Freya's like, oh, okay, this is good information. Like, I'm glad I know, so I can, like, prepare myself for, like, to look, like, appropriately enthused about taking a trip with my brother, which, like, hello, do you remember chapter 2? I really didn't enjoy being stuck in a carriage with him all this time. And she's like, okay, good information. And, Raph is like, click, 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 like, you can stop listening now. Like, I knew you were listening the whole time. Like, he has to be that cool. Like, really, like, come on, dude. Like, you're trying too hard. Just relax. And Freya's like, oh, gosh, you're on to me. Oh, God, I'm so embarrassed. But by then he's already, like, pieced out of the conversation. So, anyway, so she meets up with Sif. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go rescue Thruth, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to find her, and I'm going to hug her, and I'm going to rebraid her hair, and maybe give her a trim because I think she might be starting to get split ends. And I'm going to, like, make her cocoa, and we're going to, like, give each other pedicures, and it's going to be, like, sunshine and rainbows. And that's where we are right now.
The end.
Happy April Fool's Day.